Well, I first remember meeting Jim Raper when he was working in the emergency department, and we were just beginning to see HIV patients. And his effort and his organization of how the emergency room worked helped us enormously in taking care of patients. Fast forward about 5 or 10 years, and he was working in the vaccine group as the 1917 clinic was expanding. And we reached a very important point where I couldn't manage this anymore. I was not up to that. And I thought to myself, who could take over and do this in the right way? And only one person came to mind, and it was Jim Raper. When I approached him and pitched that he should leave the vaccine unit and come to the 1917 clinic to be our manager, he wasn't so sure. And I was sitting there just while I was asking, thinking, just say yes, just say yes. Because for me, that plan A was what had to work, because plan B was for plan A to work in the first place. So fortunately Jim said yes, and 20 years have gone by. It doesn't seem that long, but it has been. And I'm extraordinarily pleased. He has exceeded every expectation that I could have had and then some. So Jim, thanks for all you've done for the last 20 years, and we all look forward to continuing to work with you over the next 20 years. Who is Dr. Raper? You don't know who Dr. Raper is? Of course you know. He doesn't know who Dr. Raper is.
Dr. Raper is one of my mentors, and has always set a ton of excellence for all of us to strive for. Myself personally, I view him as a survivor, someone who, against whatever, always rises to the top of the pack. And I've always thought through the years I've known him, if I was ever in one of those survivor shows, I'd want him at the head of my team. And I felt that way when I met him 25 years ago, and I feel that way today.
Dr. Raper and I have worked together for 17 years now, and he is someone who I just think is truly a model leader. He leads by example. He's someone with a tireless work ethic, someone who is deeply compassionate about the cause, about his patients, about his staff, just someone who just truly cares about people. He's someone that I think has just overcome, has just overcome in so many ways. When he had his stroke, I always said, if anybody can get back to life as normal, it'll be Dr. Raper, because he's just one of those people that is just not going to let anything slow him down, and is going to just always overcome. That's just who he is. He just has this ability to not give up and to just keep on fighting, and that's something that I think is just a really impressive quality. And I think he's just a really genuine person. I've always known exactly how he feels about me. He doesn't put on, things. He's just very, very honest with who he is.
Dr. Raper is my boss at the 1917 clinic. He is one of the most dedicated people I have met, amazingly hardworking and inspiring, and very committed to both the staff at 1917 clinic and the patients that he serves.
Dr. Raper is a wonderful human being.
Dr. Raper is Superman.
Dr. Raper is an inspiration. He just he keeps going and going. He's kind of like the Energizer Bunny, and I didn't plan to say that, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's true. Because he really just, anything that kind of hits him, it just makes it work, and he keeps moving, and it's amazing, and it's amazing to have that in a leader. And then I think it's amazing too that the way we work here, we're all just taking care of each other, and I think that starts with him. He really encourages that, and so I guess that's the big picture of what he is to me.
Dr. Raper to me is not only my boss, but he's my friend, I feel like, and he's just such a super person. It's not too often in life you get to meet the kind of person he is. He's, I don't know, Kenna, jump in here. What do you think?
Really? To me, he's the type of person you want to model after. No matter what he's going through, he still tried to do the job that needs to be done. He's a caring person. He cares about his patients and his workers. Judy.
He stands strong, and he's someone to be admired from all that he's been through. And he's also my boss. That helps.
He works harder than anybody I know in the clinic. He never asks anybody to do anything he wouldn't do himself. And he's just a really fair person. He even helps with the not so pleasant nursing duties. So I really appreciate that from him, and he will help you on a moment's notice. To me, Dr. Raper is my boss. He's my mentor. He's my friend, and for the past 20 years, he's been my work husband. Sorry, Scott.
He is my boss, he's my friend, and he's my mentor.
Well, he is my mentor, my nurse practitioner guru, and my friend.
Dr. Raper is a man who has shown me how one reaches the pinnacle of one's profession. He has made me want to be a better provider.
Dr. Raper is the heart and soul of this clinic. Probably the most dedicated and hardworking person here. Although all of us do work hard, but not in comparison to him.
Dr. Raper to me is the heart and soul of the 1917 clinic. He's the beginning and the end of anything that happens at this clinic.
Dr. Raper is the boss.
Dr. Raper is the head honcho around here.
Dr. Raper is the best boss I ever had. He is the hardest working person I've ever known, and he is a fierce advocate.
Dr. Raper is one of the most amazing individuals I've ever met in terms of his organizational skills, his energy, his ability to lead people, truly lead them in a very fair and consistent fashion that garners the respect of everybody who ever works with him. What do you mean, who is Dr. Raper?
A survivor. I remember when I ran into Jim after I had left the clinic this past time, and he had had a stroke, and I had gone through my own stuff, and we hugged each other and talked about the fact that we were both survivors. And you know, like I mentioned earlier, that's how I see him. I see him as somebody who, you know, his entire life has worked hard to get to where he is, and regardless of what life throws his way, he makes the best of it, and it helps the people that he works with and whatnot to do the same thing with their lives.
Ooh, that's really hard to describe a person in one word who has like a 30-plus page CV, but I would say that he is a philanthropist, humanitarian. Yeah.
Okay, one word to describe Dr. Raper. Charismatic. Charismatic.
Amazing, and he's a great tap dancer.
Determined.
He's a superhero.
Indomitable Trojan.
Awesome! Awesome! He's great. He's the man. Go Jim! 20 more! Woohoo!
Faithful.
One word I would use to describe Dr. Raper is courageous.
Leader.
Phenomenal. I've thought of many words, and one word is hard to describe him, but phenomenal is the best word I could come up with.
One word. Indefatigable. Indefatigable. That's Dr. Raper.
And what does that mean?
It means he never wears out. He's like the ever-ready bunny. He does the work of 3 people all at once. You didn't know that? I guess he didn't.
Invincible. Invincible.
And why do you say invincible?
Because bad things happen, but they don't alter who he is as a person.
I would say relentless. Relentless in his compassion and his work for others, for his staff, and for the cause of HIV.
Groovy.
Brave. Workaholic.
Magnanimous is really a good word, but also generous, passionate, kind, and fair.
A lot. I think one of the biggest things is that you do have to dream big, but you have to realize that you're going to have to compromise along the way because you can't do everything you want. But that you can keep trying and keep pushing. And then it's also really important to take an actual vacation and turn off your email.
To be open, to be helpful to everyone, and to always do your very best.
To work hard, and as he puts it, if we don't want to do it, just to call him, if that's from picking paper up out of the floor to anything else. So that kind of makes you want to get in there and do what you're supposed to do and not complain, because you know exactly that's what he would do.
Absolutely.
Dr. Raper has taught me many lessons. I think one of the things I most enjoy is when I get one-on-one time to sit down with him, and he always brings another perspective that I haven't considered that's important for me to consider in making decisions. And I think just his also genuine commitment to caring for our patients at the clinic that is always evident is, again, inspiring.
Jim has taught me perseverance and the importance of empathy.
Well, he started teaching me about 21 years ago. I was in his last clinical course over at the School of Nursing. I was like 22 years old. And he was the hardest instructor, and he made us go meet our patients before we saw them in clinical, and we had to write like a 3-page paper, APA format, with references, like at least 3, I think it was, I don't remember, but it had, and then we had to be there at the hospital at like 6 a.m. And what he's taught me was that, well, you know, you got to work hard, is one thing. And another thing he taught me was that, you know, we don't always have to go by the rules, because I had a patient who had horrible peripheral vascular disease, and this woman was in a lot of pain, and she just wanted a cigarette. She just wanted a cigarette, so he actually closed the door. It was just me, him, and the patient. He closed the door. This was like on 9 South, I think, at the hospital. And he actually pulled out a cigarette out of this woman's bedside table and lit the cigarette, and I was like, my instructor just lit a cigarette in the hospital. Whoa. He's really a nice guy. So he's taught me that sometimes, you know, we got to do what we got to do, but you always have to work hard.
I've learned so much from Jim Raper. Of all the years I've worked for him, whenever I ask a question, no matter how silly or stupid it is, he stops what he's doing and looks at you and explains it in very easy to understand, good detail. He's an awesome teacher.
That anything is possible, that with the help of others, teamwork, and just plugging through any obstacle, you can do whatever you need to do. Whether it is bringing on 3,000 more patients to the clinic, or if it's any personal struggle. He is a very important role model to me.
He has taught me how to look past the patient's behaviors and to be more compassionate as far as realizing where their behaviors come from and dealing with our patients.
He's taught me so many technical skills, but most importantly, he's taught me how to think and look at things from the patient's perspective. And that makes a huge difference, because when you don't walk in somebody's shoes, you think things are easy when they may be hard. And so he's encouraged me to always do that, and it's been the biggest thing that's helped me take care of patients.
He's someone who's taught me that if you work hard enough, you can make anything happen. Because he's done a lot of things around here that probably would never have happened without him.
What have I learned? Okay, I learned that doctors wear long coats, fellows wear short coats, and nurses wear whatever they want to. And he may have even dropped the F-bomb.
See, what have I learned from Dr. Raper? I think this is important to say. The number one thing I've learned from him is to allow people to succeed, to give people the time and the training and the patience that they need to do a good job.
I have learned how nice it is to have a boss who has your back. I have learned that a gay man without children can be a better family-friendly boss than any of the others that I've had in the 25 years working at UAB.
He's taught me a lot, a whole lot. One of the things that he's taught me is to always do the right thing. You know, even if it's hard, even if it's easy, if it's somewhere in between, if you do the right thing, then things will always work out okay. And he just exemplifies that. The other thing he's taught me is that you need a system. That in order for something to work or something to be accomplished, you need a system. And if something's going wrong, then you need to look at the system. And that's been incredibly valuable in my work. He's also taught me just how to be determined and just to keep on going, and no matter what the obstacles are, you just keep moving forward. I think Dr. Raper is one of the smartest people that I've ever known.
What have I learned from Dr. Raper? First thing I've learned is to be silly. Can you believe that? Actually, that's not true. I had that before I met Dr. Raper. But I will tell you, I've learned a lot of great expressions. One, people change, but not much. Two, he likes it this way. He got it from Dr. Kirkland, but if you're not helping me, you're not helping me. But I like it. I've morphed it into, if you're not helping me, you're hurting me. And that's what I've learned from Dr. Raper. How's that?
Dr. Raper's taught me so much. I think one of the biggest lessons has just been that the best teachers walk among their students rather than in front of them. So anything he's ever had his staff do or ask to do, he's right there demonstrating what needs to be done. And I use that with students I work with colleagues I work with. So I would have to say probably the biggest thing he's taught me is to lead by example.
Thank you for 20 wonderful years. And I never thought that day sitting beside you at the desk in the emergency room that we would be together again. And here at the clinic. So thank you for everything. I appreciate you so much, and you can edit that. I appreciate you so much, and everything you do for me and on behalf of all of our patients in the clinic, and actually Birmingham, Alabama, America, and the world. Okay.
Happy anniversary, and may you have many more.
Us vaccine queens are here to congratulate him on these 20 years and to know that we've just got a little fraction of this 20 years with him, and we're so glad that we have.
Yes. I love you. Thank you for the opportunity to work with you.
Exactly.
Congratulations on your 20 years.
It's been great. 26 years for me. I can't help but cry, but Dr. Raper's my hero. He's always been there to talk, to argue. We've done a lot of that in 7 years, but he's my hero. I hope if I do anything else in life that my coworkers and my patients look up to me like they do him.
Dr. Raper is my hero.
We love you, Dr. Raper. You are wonderful. It's so wonderful to work here at 1917 with you and all the wonderful people that you have hired and that works here.
20 years ago, Jan Fuller and I used to beg Dr. Raper to come up to the clinic and work with us when he was still working on his nurse practitioner, and he would always respond to us, well, you might not want to work with me, and the key word being work with me. And he was wrong about that. It's I've never had a more supportive or a more fair supervisor, and he really listens. Congratulations for the past 20 years. I really have enjoyed working with you, and good luck on the next 20.
I would just say thank you for your many, many years of dedication to the 1917 Clinic, to all of us that work here, and to all of the patients that we serve, and to our greater community. We are indebted to you, so thank you for your inspiration.
Congratulations on 20 years. I think that's a major accomplishment. I'm thankful to have been here with you for the majority of those years and to count you as a friend.
I just wanted to let you know how much I love you and how proud I am of you. And I know we're lucky to be gay men at our age. We lost a lot of friends years ago, and it's just been great to share the trenches with you all these years. I love you.
I think that's about it. Thank you.